I said at the start that this was the 20th anniversary of me coming here as your minister. Strange to think that the youngsters who used to come out to the front when I first arrived for the children's address are now in their 20s and possibly married with their own kids. But the present Sunday school youngsters have sent me some wonderful cards, messages and videos. Let's have a look at them now.
Well, we have some lovely graphics from Ewan and his mum. Oh dear, I never will live that photo down, will I? And we've got a sparkly card from Georgia and her gran. Hey, you've discovered that I like sparkly stuff. Now, this is fascinating. Some wonderful research done by Zoe. All these things which happened in the years that I've been here. The 250th anniversary was a great year. Oh, let's be honest. Every year's been a great year. Thank you for doing that, Zoe. I'm looking over it and being fascinated. And also for some fantastic artwork by David. And Sunny's got me in my cassock, or blue dress if you like. Ryan and Jamie, they've done a great job, as always. There's some real artistry here. Amy, one of the very few people left who still call me by my nickname, Soggy. Alice, what a great piece of work you've done here. And as ever, Campbell and Drew have done a brilliant job in making this card. And inside it, there's a list of events and things in the year 2000. It was a different world then. Gosh, it really was. Olivia has made this gigantic greeting. Oh, thank you. I think maybe she had a little help from her mum. And look at these two works of art from Mason and from Evie. Thank you all. This is really, really very moving. You make me feel very special. And I think that's what God wants us all to feel. Special. Because he loves us. Thanks once again to Margaret Mearns for organising it all. Thank you very much indeed, Margaret.
Could I just say a very warm welcome to everyone. It's really lovely to see everyone here today. It's great to be able to finally celebrate the 20th anniversary of Alan's ministry at Wellpark Mid Kirk. On the 4th of May 2000, the Reverend Alan became minister of Wellpark Mid Kirk. Could I just say a very warm welcome 20 years ago? He joined us as a fresh-faced, just over 40-year-old to lead us in worship and take over the mantle of the Toon Kirk. Due to the restrictions last year, we were unable to celebrate as we had hoped, hence the delay. So today we're really celebrating his 21st. All that we managed last year was a very quick mention on the Vanessa Bell's programme just before his was-for-thought slot. Alan probably won't remember this, but one night in early 2000, I was waiting in the rear vestibule to pick up my son Stuart, who was in the junior section of the BB at the time. Alan was waiting to be interviewed by the vacancy committee. He was looking at all the photos that were pinned up in the rear vestibule. So we chatted briefly and I wished him well, and I hope the interview went well. And it obviously did. Who would have thought that night that 20 years later I would be standing here recognising Alan's 20 years of loyal service. Before touching on some of the events, I'd like to welcome Les Donaghy. Les is an artist and had asked Alan if he could paint his portrait wearing his Deputy Lord Lieutenant Chain of Office. Alan, being the shy retiring type that he is, was delighted with the portrait, and so it seemed like the ideal gift to recognise his years of service. On the screen behind me you see a number of photos of just some of the events that have been held over the last 20 years, and there have been many. Lots of happy, fun times, and many sombre, respectful and emotional times. I'm sure you'll agree that a lot has happened in the last 20 years. We have shared many challenging times with Alan over the years as he raised his teenage daughter single-handed, and what a great job he did of that. We've shared the worries of Kirsty's health and celebrated as she came through some very challenging times herself. We've shared the joy of his two beautiful grandsons' birth and the sheer pride and joy they've brought to his life. And much more recently, the joy and happiness Judith is bringing to his life now, and I'm sure in the future. We wish them both well. As far as the life of Wellpark Mid Kirk is concerned, we have learned, developed and grown as a congregation and as a Kirk session under his guidance and leadership. We have heard many interesting and thought-provoking sermons, had some crazy children's chats, and quite literally seen waves swinging from the chandeliers. We've had an angel dressed in white at the front door, a crocodile onesie, who remembers that one, many wigs, sparkly shoes, and some very interesting braces to deal with. And actually we've got a pair of interesting braces on today. I do often wonder if some party regular has been passing along Kirk Square one Easter morning, still a bit under the influence, and telling his friends that he'd just seen an angel on his way home. Maybe thought it was time to give up the booze at that time. There's always one thing that we can depend on Alan for. For those of us who've been involved in catering in the church, you know that there will never be anything wasted. Whether it's a coffee day, the Kirk Cafe, or the mass catering for the Galatians Festival, you only have to start a conversation with, Alan, would you like? And the conversation doesn't have to go any further from that point on. He's off with the leftovers, all of them, so nothing's ever wasted, but I'm sure he's really just being environmentally friendly and cutting down on waste. How often has he relaxed an anxious new mum as the baby to be baptised has cried during the service? Alan's moved in mid-sermon and cradled the baby and walked the floor to comfort them. Indeed, how many of us remember the Sunday Hamish was brought into church in his car seat and spent the service sitting here on the communion table? Do any of us actually remember what that sermon was about, or were we just too busy watching the video? But I'm sure, Alan, that was the only time we weren't focused on the sermon. But through all the fun and laughter, there's been a steadying hand, a ready shoulder, and some very sage advice shared whenever needed. The sermons have always been very meaningful, and I'm sure have left us feeling as if you've been talking directly to us. We've benefited greatly from his skill as a broadcaster, and his IT skills have taken us to a new level, using different medium to get the message seen and heard more widely. We mustn't also forget our pride when he was appointed as Deputy Lord Lieutenant of Renfrewshire, which has brought many dignitaries to share in our worship. He's been chaplain to the ATC, school chaplain at Quimhill and Inverclyde Academy, and has spent a lot of time with young people, leading and encouraging them. He has supported our own Girls Brigade and Boys Brigade company as well, and led worship for the Scouts and the BB Battalion carol services for many years. Whether it's been the curtain of the council or the remembrance services both here or at the war memorials in the Wellpark and at Louth Hill, they have all been conducted with great sensitivity and compassion. His workload has probably been greater than a lot of people realise, but still, every service has been new and in many ways innovative. More recently, as a result of restrictions due to the pandemic, he's recorded many online reflections that have been very well received by literally hundreds of people all over the world. This has allowed many people to tune into the services who would otherwise not attend church. The numbers tuning in have been beyond our expectations, and the feedback has been absolutely great. The last 20 years have flown by, but I'm sure we have a lot to be thankful for. So from us to you, Alan, a very heartfelt thank you for all you have done and all you continue to do for everyone here in Wellpark Mid Kirk. I would just like to present Alan with a certificate. It does say 20 years because we did hope to do this last May, but Alan, we'd like you to accept this in recognition of the 20 years.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And could I now invite Les Donaghy to join us and help Anthony Alan unveil the portrait?
Is there a way to do this, Les?
Yes.
All right.
You grab the top and you pull down.
You grab the top. Your top or my top?
Both.
Hold on, I'm down a step and he's already 6'4". This is good.
My arms ain't long enough.
Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much, Les. Come on round this side of the community table, if you can. Come there and all. The more to not. Oh, all right. There's not so much a chance on the obstacle course. Les Donaghy, I should say, the Reverend Dr. Leslie Donaghy. But he doesn't stand the ceremony, and he has told me that I don't need to call him the Reverend Doctor, I can just call him Sir. So he's a man of many parts, some of which work. And Les has been an old friend for many, many years, and was a minister in the Church of Scotland for a few years, but he's been a professional artist for a long, long time now. Probably just as well because he's rubbish at sermons. So, listen, I know because I've met several of them, and really it's wonderful that we discovered that we could make a living out of this. Les, tell us the story of how you ended up wanting to paint my picture last year.
Wow. That's quite a long story, I'm sorry folks.
Yeah, I'll take the mask off.
Right. Scary. Very scary, yeah. It's my movie star looks. Unfortunately, the movie star that looked like a Shrek. I'll abbreviate the story. I've known Alan for about 40 years, and we've been in touch all over that time. We had very common interests, shared goals, and all the rest of it. About 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with a condition called acromegaly. You may note that I've got big hands and big feet. That's all acromegaly means, a big word, that's all it means. But it was actually very interesting listening to the sermon today and Alan talking about the body, because my body dramatically changed because of that. It's essentially a little tumour in the brain on the pituitary gland, which doubled in size. I was about to do what Alan's about to do again and get married. And 3 months before my wedding, I had to go in for brain surgery to have this little tumour removed. Now, thankfully, my wife is a very understanding lady, and when we came out and through the surgery as part of my recovery, I was enrolled in an art class, a painting and drawing class at the local art centre in East Kilbride, where I now live. I had painted and drawn before, by the way, a long time ago. When I went into the ministry, I just didn't have the time to do that. So let's fast forward a wee bit. My focus, I suppose, had always been portraiture. I like drawing people, I'm drawn to people. I like people. Very strange concept that, isn't it, given the last 15 months. But Alan, being a good friend, has a very specific look. And I wanted to Well, do you know, I'm usual when we were talking about stained glass window, there's a thing about painters, and I think I've got to stand something like this.
Oh yes.
On that studio portrait. Anyway, there's an annual competition which I wanted to enter, which is for the Royal Society of Portrait Painters, and I thought Alan would be the perfect subject for this. So I asked him and he kindly agreed, you know, being the quiet, yeah, you know what he's like. So came down, took the photographs, went back, and this is the end result. It was put into the Royal Society of Portrait Painters and I got it back a year later. So that just about sums up what's happened.
But tell us the story about the exhibition that it was supposed to be in. This is why you submitted it to the Royal Society of Portrait Painters.
It's actually still got the labels on the back for the Royal Society. It went down and basically...
It went down to London?
It went down to London, yes. It was taken in for the Royal Society of Portrait Painters and then of course the pandemic hit. So the exhibition was, shall we say, postponed, put back and eventually abbreviated so that it was only members of the Royal Society who got the pictures shown. So the picture went down and eventually was never actually shown. So why they held on to it for a year? Goodness knows.
So your talent and my good looks were not the first prize winners then?
Well, at least it's your talent and my good looks.
So that painting has been further than I have during lockdown. It's been down to London and back. And did it not get stuck in Newcastle or something, Sunderland?
Somewhere thereabouts. I don't quite remember.
Did you wonder where it gone? I thought I've had a weekend in Sunderland. I didn't know.
It was on a van.
But just asking me technical question, how long did that take to paint?
Well, you know the answer to this, Alan. The actual physical process of painting it took 6 weeks. That was split over 3 months because I ended up in hospital with sepsis and septicemia.
You didn't catch it 3 years ago,
No, he didn't come and visit me. He's not quite so he probably didn't want to catch it from me. So it took roughly 3 months.
Wow. Well, it is a phenomenal piece of work, as I'm sure everyone will agree. That is quite astonishing skill. And it's wonderful that the congregation sought to give that to me as a gift. And I'm delighted. Of course, it does create a problem, and the problem is that when I get married to Judith and move into her house after I've retired, we need to build on an extension for the art gallery, because she doesn't have any walls that size. So we'll need to find a suitable place to put it. But thank you very much indeed, guys. Thanks for coming along. We will wish you all the very best, and maybe next year the Royal Society of Portrait Painters will recognise your talent and not send it back unopened. Can we just say thank you for letting I should be at the point of saying, Mason wants to ask my question. All right, there's the question for you from the floor. How are you so good at doing that?
Practice. It's just practice. You're on to a start, Mason. You really are on to a start. Just keep going at it and keep practicing. That's all you need to do. You do over and over and over again, and eventually, when you see your mistakes. Sorry, I can't hear you. I did it, and I used a very, very small brush. Very small brush, and lots of paint. And one of the tubes of paint cost £100, just to tell you.
Just out of interest, mentioning that you should do it by hand, when I first saw it, I got very emotional. I had never seen my hands. And these are not my hands, these are my father's hands. It's the first time I've seen my dad's hands in 20 years. It was extremely moving.
Can I come on after that, Alan? I hope you don't mind. Since one of the things that happened since that is I did another portrait for someone else, and I got the same response about the hands. And it was very strange that the hands become so emotional. As a result, what I'm now working on is a series of paintings, big paintings, bigger than that, of hands. And one of them is now being down into, and it has been accepted, into an exhibition in the Mall Galleries in London, which is a pair of praying hands, which I know you've seen, Alan, but yeah. So that's just that.
So check out Les Donaghy art, well worth it. This is running ahead and there's a cake to be cut, but I do need to say a couple of words. First of all, I need to say thank you to you, Grace, for being the mastermind behind all of this. I know that many others have played a part in it, but thank you very much for doing it. John Newton knew what he was doing when he wrote the hymn Amazing Grace. I'm sure you've been told that many, many times, but it is absolutely amazing. And can I say thank you to all the congregation, those who are not here today but are joining us online, and thank you to everybody who is here today for your incredible generosity. Thank you, Grace, for that wonderful speech. That is the kind of speech that my father would have appreciated and my mother would have believed. I'm the only person I've ever met who's had the portrait painted. It's amazing. I'm just taken aback. Thank you very much for giving me this gift. I was hoping it was one of these paintings that got older while I didn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't. But there's a phrase that I've used many times in my life: what I need is a mirror with a better view. Well, now instead of looking in the mirror, I'll just look at that and I'll always be the way I was in 2020. Thank you for your very brief summary of the last 21 years. It's got in a ring cake and I'm still trying to learn how to do this job. I'm hoping that nobody finds me out. It really is true. But this isn't a time for looking back, it's a time for looking forward. Thank you to the congregation of today who will continue to be the congregation tomorrow. And if we're looking forward, here's the best quote I've read this week. Going forward, if God is your partner, you better start making big plans. Big plans ahead. So while we're looking back today, this is a time also for looking forward. I will never forget today. Actually, that's a lie. See my memory? I'll have forgotten about it. But I'll always have the picture, look back and say, oh, that's right, I remember that now. But what I will always remember is your kindness and your generosity. Thank you very much indeed, Grace, and thank you very much indeed to the congregation. And now, there's cake to be eaten. Do we have a photographer here? Dun, 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 dun. I feel like just going hacking off a piece, but I suppose I should be kind of. Do you want to make it closer? I'll come down on the. And there we are. Right, the cake is being cut. You can all start salivating. Wow. Thank you.